It should tell you everything you need to know about Jeskai players. That the first commander ever printed for this color identity was recurring, targeted land destruction. Welcome back to the Return to Tarkir. Today we're doing Jeskai, the identity with perhaps the most internal conflict and confusion of the Tarkir clans. And of course, something has to hold that crown, and it does make sense that it would be red, seeing as how red has possibly the most tumultuous history of any color throughout Magic's entire lifetime. You see, red is the color of good, honest magic. The color of, I have 20 points of burn damage that I'm going to speed run pointing at your face, and if you don't have a plan for getting punched in the head, that's your problem. But it was not always this way. There was a time when red was most known for stone rain effects. Now, for those of you who are new to Magic, say your playtime is shorter than the lifespan of Arena, you may not know Stone Rain, the 2 and a red sorcery that destroys target land. No, that does not say non-basic. In fact, any land. Destroy it, it's gone forever. In multiplayer, this is simply rude. It is bad spending one spell on a land to slightly decelerate one opponent, but in tournament play, in matched one-on-one combat, it cannot be overstated how much putting your opponent down a land drop is so much better than putting yourself up a land drop. This playstyle has mostly been eradicated from modern-day Magic, but it lingers on throughout design mistakes, eternal formats, and just people who are really dedicated to making sure that the rest of the table has absolutely no fun. This is ultimately the original sin, the color identity hidden deep within the core of red. And when you pair it with white-blue, two colors who wear "nobody's having fun, not even me" on their sleeves, well, you're going to have a bad time. None of this is to say that Jeskai is, say, land destruction tribal. Except for the times that it absolutely is. I have a video on this channel of me playing Hinata Arcane Bombardment, a deck based entirely around recurring land destruction spells to lock my opponent out of the game instead of just magnum opusing for the win. But it is true that no part of Jeskai engages with the core of Red's philosophy of go fast, risk everything on the early game, or die trying. No, Jeskai is about giving Red access to instants and sorceries that do more than just point face damage. They clear the board well, they draw cards efficiently, and they do all of this while making sure to take time to get their prowess creatures in for every little bit of extra damage. And of course, as with any wedge, the sins are not limited to the core color. Blue is able to indulge its worst impulses, saying, of course, I have to draw so many more cards. I played all of the spells from my hand, didn't I? I burned faces, I wrathed the board over and over again, and sure, some of those might have even cantripped, but I could always draw more cards, I could always filter more things. Indeed, white and red are two colors with the most one-and-done powerful spells that blue most wants to card select its way into. And white, well, here is where we must take a moment to ponder the difference between design intent and player expression. For the design intent of white in Jeskai will, of course, be many small creatures. Creatures with prowess, your Monastery Swift Spears, your walls that allow you to draw cards and play your blue-red spells. But ultimately, the real core of white in Jeskai is board clears. It's Sunfalls, Wrath of Gods, or I suppose I should say Day of Judgments. Days of Judgment? White's big spells that you're not supposed to play too many of in any given game, but you must always make sure to have access to. And then ending the game is a problem for some other part of the deck. In most cases, the red cards, your fireballs, your lightning bolts, or if you're a particularly degenerate sort, the Jace mill-out strategies. I say this from the deepest core of my heart. Do not think to understand Jeskai based on the pre-constructed decks or the simple recommendations from MTG Arena. No. Look at the competitive decks. Look at what these people do to you when they are given access to mass land destruction, prison spells, and Ristic Study all together.